giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now FTC is produced in partnership with PTC. PTC currently has some Robots to the Rescue challenge going on where you can earn a share of $7,000 for your team by designing a robot that helps solve a current world problem at onshape.com/robots to the rescue.
Now we're going to switch over to our AMA-style interview with Frank and Andrew from Game Manual Part Zero. For those of you that just tuned in, Game Manual Part Zero is a guide to all things FTC, created by veteran teams for younger teams. If you have any questions for our guest host, tag @FirstUpdatesNow in the chat, and we'll try to get to it. To start us off, would you guys like to tell us a little bit about the history of Game Manual Part Zero?
Sure. So Game Manual Zero started in the summer of 2019 and sprung from this sentiment among a lot of FTC veterans that there was a pretty big knowledge gap between the competition's more experienced members and newer members, and that also realizing that there were not many online easily accessible resources, certainly not from First, but also not really from the community to kind of help bridge that gap. And the solution we kind of came up with was what started out as a PDF guide. It turned into a website, Game Manual Zero, which is essentially a collection of knowledge and advice about building FTC robots from veterans. The version that's up now, there's been minor tweaks, but the main version that's up now was released in October of last year. We are planning to create another revision of it over the summer. But yeah, that's just a little summary.
All right, so I'll start off with the first question. Where did the name Game Manual Part Zero come from?
So this kind of came from people. It was sort of to communicate that this is like general knowledge base for the entire competition. Like Game Manual, the idea was Game Manual 2 is very game specific. Game Manual 1 tends to not change much, but still a little bit game specific. And then Game Manual 0 is supposed to be a baseline knowledge before you go in. This is stuff that's good to know before any of it.
Oh,
Right.
Interesting.
We wanted to kind of tie it into the two game manuals that First released, as well as just kind of give it a name that kind of reflected what it's about and what it does. And so we came up with Game Manual Zero.
All right, excellent. I guess I'll take the next question then. So, how many editors and contributors are there for Game Manual Zero?
How many?
There's a list in the there's a contributors list in it. I think there are 41, but I might be wrong.
That's quite a bit of people.
And yeah, those 41 those include editors, those include authors, and those also include people who contributed images or designs from their teams that we then put into the guide.
So how do you guys come up with the topics that are covered in the manual? Like, I mean, FTC, you can pretty much go anywhere when you go with building the robot. There are a few restrictions on electronics and stuff like that, but how do you pick which topics you want to specifically cover?
So at the beginning, we started out with just drivetrains, and then branched out. We kind of thought, okay, once we have this basic understanding of what mechanics go into just making the robot drive. Now, after that, the idea was sort of just to gather together all of the experience that we've had with the games that we had all personally been involved with and collect that experience into information. And so one of those things were linear slides, and how to string them, how to tension them, what slides are good to use. We put all of that in there. Good intake design principles. That was another thing that was covered, that as somebody who has been experienced in the competition, you are thinking about when designing. And that we just went down that process pretty much for everything in the manual.
Right. Well, it's kind of like something that, for what I've noticed or what I think about it, was like, it's kind of a guide that I can give to teams that come up to me at competition, ask me, how do you get your intake so fast? How do you get it to intake at a 90-degree angle? How can you get your slides to go to the right position every time? How do you get it to, how do you do this? How do you do that? Just as a member of an experienced team that's been very successful competitively, it's just something that I get asked a lot is, how did we do this? And Game Manual Zero is just kind of something we wrote to answer all the questions about that. It's something that I really benefit from because I'm not repeating myself over and over again. I can just approach Game Manual Zero. Every time I get asked those questions, the answers are in there.
Awesome. So you guys have obviously developed a really extensive technical section in Game Manual Zero. Do you guys have any plans to add a non-technical, such as outreach and business section?
We have talked about this. One, so I can't give a definitive answer, but I will say that I think that is coming. There's been a lot of people that have talked about that. At least in conversations about where it should go next. And I think that if there are people that are willing to write the content, which it looks like there are, and people that know a lot, it's a completely different side of the competition. And if there are people that know how to be successful in those areas, then I think it couldn't hurt at all to add that. And I expect that we will.
So,
So
you guys obviously have a lot of contributors that go into Game Manual Part Zero. So, how have you made this more of a community effort rather than just a small group of people?
So the project
you go ahead,
started.
Andrew.
So the project was started by a member of the Swerve Alliance server, the Discord server, and that's where we've been just managing it all behind the scenes. And there was just a bunch of interest from people there that wanted to write it down, as well as just people from the, once we started talking about it, people from the big FTC Discord that were interested in helping out. And that's how we got the number of people that helped with it that we did, was just interest from the community and wanting to do it.
We started out as just putting everything in a Google Doc that was completely free to edit. So anybody could jump in, add something, people would go through and fact check. And eventually it got big enough that we said, okay, now we can transition to a website and we have to approve changes and stuff like that. But it started off as open contribution from anybody.
All right, awesome. And how often are you guys planning on updating it? Are you guys planning on updating it even after you guys graduate? What's your thoughts on that?
I can say personally, since I'm graduating this year, and after I graduate, I don't feel like I'm going to have that many more new things to say because I'm not going to be in the games experiencing new things that I would want to tell people. A lot of the design advice that I've personally had is already reflected in the manual now, and it's going to be hard to get new FTC design advice when I'm not doing FTC. So
Right.
I can say personally, I'm still going to work on it over the summer, but after that, probably not.
I mean, I feel like I'm in kind of the same boat as Frank. I'm going to work on it as long as I can. I'm a junior, so I still got another year of FTC, but I feel like once I graduate out of FTC, I just won't be in the know, and I won't have all the design knowledge, at least FTC specific, that I would if I was competing. and I'll still edit for things like grammar and spelling, but I don't know if I'll be able to edit the content or write the content as well.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any plans to work with companies in creating Game Manual Zero?
So we actually did work with a company in creating it. We worked with for the web hosting. We worked with Copperforge. It's they're the ones that actually hosted the website, and they've been a great partner in helping us get Game Manual Zero up and going and keep it running.
They're a relatively new FRC vendor that
Right.
yeah.
They focus on electronics. I think they've got a sensor for sale now. Yeah, Tyler's got it up.
Nice.
I know they've got some more stuff in the works, but they manufacture for both FRC and FTC. They manufacture electronics.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Awesome. So how can people support Game Manual Zero?
On our website, we do have flyers that contain like links to things. It has a QR code, and one of the main ways that we've gotten exposure is just by showing people that at kickoff events or competitions or whatnot. And that's because a lot of the teams that aren't engaged in these sort of community circles that we are, and might not even know that they exist, won't really have any way to know about it unless somebody like first promotes it, but that's probably not ever going to happen. Yeah.
All right.
And
if you notice in the chat, DanceMan805, he's an editor for it as well. He says pull requests are always accepted too. So if you want to contribute, there's ways that you can email us at the emails listed in the contributors page, as well as I think there's an email that gives it to all the people involved.
Yeah.
If you want to help, or if you have anything that you think we should add, or anything that there's a mistake or something, you can email us and let us know, and we can get it fixed.
That email is also on the website, by the way.
Awesome. Yeah. Are there any plans to work with FTC organizations like Doge TV, Open FTC, and people that are making stuff for FTC?
If there are certain things, that's a hard question to answer, because a lot of those sorts of organizations I think so. With Doge CV specifically, I have two different answers for at least those two examples. With Doge CV, probably not, because as far as I know, there aren't any plans to keep that project updated for future years. Even though it was widely used in the past, the goal of the guide isn't really just to explain what people have used in the past. It's to explain what people can use that is like directly useful to them in the coming years. Something like Open FTC. I think that one of the goals should be for our next release to kind of describe resources that are being updated and do have a large enough following that we think they would be useful for teams to know about. Roadrunner is another example of that.
As far as I know, there aren't any plans for it, but if those organizations approach us and ask like, hey, do you want to work something out where we'll mutually benefit, like, well, you can help us write a section about Roadrunner, for example, and in turn we will include that section, and we'll just be able to I think what Frank said about them being sustainable is very important, because we don't want to recommend stuff that just doesn't work anymore. We want to keep things up to date and always useful. We don't want any useless information.
Sure. So what would you guys recommend teams do during this extended break to help them prepare for upcoming seasons?
Design practice.
Yeah,
Des-
design practice for
practice,
sure.
yeah.
I know there's several CAD challenges happening over the off season.
Mhm.
I think the PTCs is ending pretty soon, but I know of a few others that are happening in the coming months that you should definitely think about participating in, because they're a great. I really like CAD challenges because they're a great way to practice CAD. You can also go back and design robots for old games. Just get some practice in. And
Mhm.
I can speak from personal experience. That was one of the primary ways that I have been, that I, in the past, when I was like completely new to design, that I was able to learn like different things as I would make some design for relic recovery and then just show it to people and say, like, if I made this in real life, what would you think would be wrong with it? And then I got feedback from that, and that was really helpful. It is hard now because it's obviously hard to do outreach. It's harder to fundraise, and a lot of teams don't have access to their robots. So I think as much as you can do at home, one of those being, another thing being programming, do some graphic design. There are certain things that even with like without ready access to testing or to human interaction, like with the outside world, you should still be able to do and improve skills.
Yeah. So, on Gaming with Zero, it's mainly text and pictures, but do you guys have any plans for videos or other forms of media?
We do. One of the biggest ones I can think of is we do plan to create a CAD repository. We've contacted different teams, and they have told us that they would be willing to share CAD for their robots, for some pretty successful robots. So we are excited to release that
right,
once we can get.
I think the CAD repository is actually in the latest release, not the stable one that you automatically go to, in the appendix of the current versions that are pushed onto the website.
Awesome. So Tacklebat from our Discord asks, what did you learn from editing and writing Game Manual Part Zero?
I can say for myself, since the point of this is to create, like to kind of compile experiences from teams and from people who have been doing this for a long time. Some of those experiences were new to me. I think I learned a lot, for example, about linear motion systems from this, which I hadn't had any experience designing before, even though I had experience with other things like drivetrains or intakes. I had never really done anything with those kinds of systems. So being able to write and edit those and getting feedback, I think was really helpful for me specifically. I don't know about you, Andrew.
For me, I just learned a lot about actually just the math behind a lot of things. I learned that all the calculations for how to properly set up gears in CAD and belts, and how to actually calculate everything out to make sure it will work, instead of just getting it close and hoping it does it.
Awesome. So Kate from our Fun FTC Discord asks, how can you get involved with writing GM0?
We kind of covered this a little bit. It's like we said, you can get in contact with us through our website.
Right.
We also have a Discord server, that not a Game Manual Zero specific Discord server, but we do tend to organize stuff in the Swerver. That's the Swerve Alliance server that Andrew was referring to.
And I think somebody posted that link in the chat. So if you could post that again in the chat, that would be great. So our next question is, are there any plans to include some type of comment Q&A or discussion sort with Game Manual Zero?
No, but that's an interesting idea.
So if people want to directly ask you questions, the Swerver is a great place to go, right?
Swerver,
Swerver
email,
is a great place to go.
I know a lot of us are on the FTC server, or you can just ask really anybody from the FTC server, even if they weren't directly involved with Game Manual Zero.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It usually
Quite
will
quick
get back to us.
Questions answered. Yeah.
Are there any Mecha Muffin from the chat asks, could you ask if there's any planned programming additions to Game Manual Zero?
There definitely are.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That was one of the big things that we knew we needed to expand on. Because the decision to add programming content was relatively late in the process of writing, when we already had a bunch of people who were dedicated and writing content, but were also only really dealt with mechanical stuff. And so that's one of the big plans for the next release, is to add more code elements.
Sure. And then TD Canova asks, while I know that this is an ambitious endeavor, but has Fun ever thought of an online workshop, in this case on content based on Game Manual Zero? So Ishan, I know you're a showrunner. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. If you guys want it, just let us know. We use the Fun Discord. If you go in the chat, the Fun Discord is usually there, to figure out what we're going to do for our future shows. Like Game Manual Zero, having them on this show was an idea that we got from the Discord, and we want to listen to what you guys want. Tyler, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of replicate that a little bit. We create content that hopefully you guys enjoy, and you can make all the bingo cards you want to. So, the way that we look at that stuff like this is, if it's something that you think you're going to get value out of, we're interested in, as long as you guys watch. I mean, to be straight up with the way content works for things, there's some stuff that is really, really, really good stuff, or sometimes we get like, why don't you talk about this unknown team or this unknown team? Well, the frank answer is that we do that and then nobody watches it. So we have to get that fine balance between what that is. If it's something that we think is going to be valuable to the community and to our audience, then yeah, we're absolutely down for helping create content like that. It really comes down to, though, is, stuff like that, we definitely need help with, and we need other, just as, Fun has contributors and Game Manual Zero has contributors, we need our audience to help contribute with that as well, too, to help us out with creating that. It's I'm sure Game Manual Part Zero can attest that this stuff takes a lot of work. And it's a lot of time that a lot of people don't really think about when they consume content like this or Game Manual Part Zero. So, time comes into all this as well.
Yeah. So that's going to wrap up our AMA portion with Game Manual Part Zero. Now it's time for some FTC trivia. We'll be having one audience member go up against Frank. If you'd like to be the audience member that joins, go to our Discord and join the Call-In Channel Queue channel, and we'll select someone from there. If our audience member beats Frank, they'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. Before we start our trivia, let's take a look at this message from PTC.
Well, I just want to jump in and say, Frank brought up the Robots to the Rescue Challenge, and that is ending soon, as he mentioned as well, too. So Robots to the Rescue, if you're not familiar with it, you have 3 days, including today, to still enter if you're interested. You get to use Onshape, which you haven't used before. It's a fantastic program, completely cloud-based. You can run it on a Chromebook. You can run it on a work station, whatever you want, it runs for you. The Robots to Rescue Challenge, you're going to design a robot in Onshape to solve a real-world challenge. You can pick whatever you want, and PTC is giving away $7,000, and they're divvying that up amongst a few different teams. So if you're interested in that, please do that. We will be broadcasting the Robots to the Rescue event on Fun at a date TBD. It will be in a couple weeks. We'll officially announce that a little bit later. So go check it out, onshape.com/robots to the rescue. Other CAD challenges are definitely in the future as well, too, both from PTC and then other ones as well, too. I think we already have a couple lined up on Fun for the summer as well, too. So love all these CAD challenges. But if you still got time, go check out the Robots to the Rescue one as well.
Awesome. And with that, we're going to begin our trivia. Tyler, could you bring on our audience member? Looks like we have Chris Does Robots, who has joined our chat. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good.
So how this is going to work is we're going to have Chris answer our trivia questions. We're going to ask that, actually, Andrew, you wanted to do the trivia, right? So you're going to take off your headphones. That way you can't hear what the questions are. And so go ahead, take off your headphones, and we'll signal when to come back. Chris, we're going to ask you the 10 questions. Brooks is going to ask you the 5 questions. Sorry, my bad. You're going to answer them as quickly as possible, and you'll get a point for every question you get right. If you want to pass, just say pass, and we'll come back to it at the end. Brooks, you ready?
Yeah.
Chris,
All
you
right.
ready?
Yes.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. From the game's Velocity Vortex to Skystone, what single scoring objective yielded the most points?
Oh crap. Pass.
Okay. What was the height of the relic from bottom to top in Relic Recovery?
I want to say 4 feet. No, not 4 feet. Crap. 1 foot.
All right. What 3 years did Team 724 Redneck Robotics 1 win the World Championship?
Pass.
All right. How many colors of 4-inch compliant wheels does Andy Mark sell?
4 or 5.
Okay. How many motors are used on Team 11115's intake?
Pass.
Okay. So from the game's Velocity Vortex to Skystone, what single scoring objective yielded the most points?
No, I don't know.
Okay. What 3 years did Team 724 Redneck Robotics 1 win the World Championship?
I don't know.
Okay. And how many motors are used on Team 11115's intake?
I don't know.
I think I might know a couple.
Great. So now we're going to have Andrew. Do you want to get your headphones on? Awesome. So Andrew, it's now going to be your turn to answer the question. Brooks is going to ask you all 5 questions. If you need to pass, go ahead. Brooks, you ready?
Yeah.
Andrew,
All right.
you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and start.
Okay. From the year's Velocity Vortex to Skystone, what single scoring objective yielded the most points?
Relics.
Okay. What was the height of the relic from bottom to top in Relic Recovery?
9 inches.
All right. What 3 years did Team 724 Redneck Robotics 1 win the World Championship?
Velocity Vortex. Relic Recovery. And Cascade Effect.
Okay. How many colors of 4-inch compliant wheels does Andy Mark sell?
5.
Okay. And how many motors are used on Team 11115's intake?
From which year? This year?
Yeah, this year.
3.
All right.
And that is time. And that is time. Let's go ahead and go over the answers. Oh, that's strange. Okay. Let's go ahead and go over the answers. So the first question was, from the game's Velocity Vortex to Skystone, what single scoring objective yielded the most points? And the answer was a relic standing in Zone 3, which is what Andrew had said.
It was
it was a hang-in
Rover Ruckus.
It was a hang-in Rover Ruckus.
Yeah.
So Andrew had said that it was a relic standing in Zone 3, and Chris had said that it was, I don't know. So neither team gets a point there. What was the height of the relic from top to bottom in Relic Recovery? Chris had said 1 foot, and Andrew had said 9 inches. The correct answer was 10 inches or 254 millimeters. Andrew was closer on that one, and if there's a tiebreaker, we'll leave it to that. What 3 years did the team 724 Red Wreck Robotic 1 win the World Championship? And the correct answer was 2015, 2017, and 2018. And Andrew got all 3 of those years, so he will get a point for that. So it's 1-0 in favor of Andrew. How many colors of 4-inch compliant wheels does Andy Marks sell? The correct answer is 5, and they both guessed 5 at the end. And then the final question was, how many motors are used on Team 11115's intake? And that's gluten-free. And Andrew had answered 3, and Chris had answered, I don't know, and the correct answer was 3. So our winner for this time's trivia is Andrew. Congratulations. We are going to take that $20 and add it to our bank for the next show that we have, where the audience member will then be able to earn the bank plus an additional amount of money. So $30. All right. With that, let's go ahead and wrap up this show.
So thank you everybody for all of your follows and subscriptions we received today. Don't forget that you can subscribe for free if you or your parents have Amazon Prime. Tyler, could you please read off who has pledged support during today's show?
Yeah, sorry about that extra air horn there for those in the audience. So a few things to read off, by the way. Do we have some shout-outs I want to get to as well, mostly from Clairvoyant Llama, who's apparently just cleaning out all their points for things, but we'll still read it out. Why not? So from Clairvoyant Llama, we have a shout-out to my main man, Dom. Also says, man, I love frogs. That's his words, not mine, by the way. Also says,
I do
bingo. And FTC Live is my favorite anime. Why not? Real Neon Epic giving a shout out to its own Twitch channel at Real Neon is Epic. Sorry, Real Neon is Epic. So go check that out on there. And Cookie Hero 289 says, LMAO, whatever that means, whatever the kids say, you know? No, I'm kidding. You call yourself a First Updates Now fan? I'm loading on Fudbucks, bro. I highlight every message because I'm just that jacked. Try talking in chat again when you're a true gracious professional. Well, thanks, Cookie Hero. We appreciate you being a true gracious professional throughout the whole thing. Let's give a couple other shout outs for subs and all that stuff as well, too. Where are we at here? Nick Mathis, 4130, gave out some Tier 1 subs. Appreciate that on there. NW McLean, 20-month support on Prime. Red Leader 342, giving out some subs as well. Festival Invader 8417, 9 months of support. Says the Rocket League tournament was super fun. Yeah, go and join the Rocket League tournament. If you're not familiar with that, there's a link in our Discord for that. We do a Rocket League tournament once a month. CDF Man, 20 months of support. It says 20 months, that seems longer. Also, the last day of high school tomorrow was hype. Travis 48, 14 months of support, says woot. Last place Jake, 3 months of support. Talking about Infinite Recharge and the replay there. Duckhand Quack subscribed for 5 months and says that's a lovely rubber duck. Hey, people are interesting. Travis 48 also gave out a sub. Red Leader 342, 342 bits. Rocket Mentor, 21 months of support. Thank you so much. Deb Boy with some bits. Randomizer 77, 5 months of support. Connor McBride, right before this show started, 1,600 bits coming in. Thanks so much, Connor. Shadow 45, 14 months of support. Thank you so much. Man, Elon Island. Somebody say it for me.
Elon.
Dang it. I'm never going to get that right. I'm sorry, buddy. So, Robo Greg giving out some bits. Cookie Hero 289 with 16 months of support. It says Game Manual 0, gang, barap, we straight shooting knowledge. Yeah. Turbocharge FTC 19 with 11 months of support. Alon 9421 with some bits, and Tacklebat with 100 bits as well, too. So thank you, everybody, helping fun, stay loud, live, and independent. Lets us make shows like this. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of FTC Live. If you want to stay connected with what Fun FTC is doing, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at FunFTC, and join our Discord through the link in the chat.
And on behalf of myself, Abbas, Ishan, Andrew, Frank, and our producer Tyler working behind the scenes, I would like to thank you all for tuning in, and thanks for watching Fun FTC.
I like frogs too. They're awesome.
This video is brought to you in part by PTC. Look, during this time it's important to look for challenges to keep your skills up and to help your team in fun development. The Robots to the Rescue Challenge can help you accomplish both by designing a robot that solves a real-world problem with a chance to win a share of over $7,000 for your team. Click the link in the description to get started at onshape.com/robots to the rescue. Thanks for watching. If you want more fun content, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Thanks to all of our co-executive producers on Patreon and Tier 2 Plus subscribers on Twitch, keeping fun loud, live, and independent.